guys doing? And welcome to another great edition of Better Sports News. I am Giorgio with my main man.
Chappie, what's happening, Georgie?
It's good to be back here, but no live audience. I mean, last week we had a live audience. It was exciting, but we'll take it. That's okay. A lot of exciting things going on in the sports world. As usual, everything revolves around Chicago. I think it's all about Chicago. We start out 2 Game 7s in the NHL. One of them involves Chicago. You texted me the other night. You were watching a game. You said it was. Are you seeing this? It was so exciting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the Blackhawks scored 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of the game with the goalie pulled. One of them, the last goal, with about 40 seconds left. It was the most impossible angle I've ever seen in my entire life. Here you thought all the momentum would go with the Blackhawks. I'm texting you going crazy. They go into overtime, and Anaheim scores with 45 seconds into the overtime to win the game. But then the Blackhawks came back again last night, dominated. So now we're going to Game 7, George. And I'm telling you right now, to me, this is the finals. Should be the finals. One of these 2 teams is going to win it all. But I'm going to predict the Blackhawks are going to win in Anaheim in Game 7, Georgie. Blackhawks are going to take it down.
All right. And
although both teams are really good. So
I mean, obviously we're here in California, so the Ducks are kind of cool for us if they win. But for sure, I think the NHL wants Chicago to win, and of course they want the Rangers to win as well, right? I mean, do you think the Rangers are going to pull out in Game 7?
I do think the Rangers are going to pull it off. I think I had read where the Rangers are 7-0 in their last 7 Game 7s, which is unbelievable. Might have been 8-0 even.
Wow.
And obviously the dream matchup would be Chicago and New York.
Yeah.
And I definitely think the momentum's back with the Rangers. The other game, 50-50. I'm just going with it because I'm more the Midwest Chicago guy. Although I do like the Ducks, and we have quite a few Ducks players and coaches that frequent out here.
Here in Santa Anita?
That's right.
I love them already.
They come out quite a bit, so I probably shouldn't be picking that way, but I got to stick with the Blackhawks.
All right, that's outside. Very exciting. So that'll set up a wonderful final in the NHL. It's going to be very exciting. Chicago also in the news because they fired Tibbs. Wow, what do you think about the Bulls firing Tibbs? And not only firing him, but on the way out, like kicking him in the butt and talking crap about him.
Yeah, I didn't like the pot shots on the way out. I don't think that was needed. Obviously, Tibbs had some serious issues with the front office, John Paxson especially. So I think that was the whole deal. I think that they could have won it all, and they still were going to get rid of Tibbs this year. Maybe it's time for a new blood in there. Tibbs is Mr. Defensive Coach. I think they need to make some changes. Derrick Rose isn't quite the same player. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I think it was a needed change. I think he's a great coach. I just asked you what are your thoughts,
right.
And then I went on for 3 more minutes. But what are your thoughts on that, George?
Well, I mean, I think if you read into the lines of what they said, what management said on his way out, that he wasn't communicating with them, and he was kind of like going, "This is my turf. Stay away from my turf." And I think really it should be something where there's got to be a line of communication. They've got to be all on the same page. They're on the same team, from the owner all the way down to the last assistant coach. So if he was putting them in a position where he's not being a team player, and in fact also allegations that he would talk to the press about anything bad that was going on. So if that's the case, then maybe it's time. They just could never get by LeBron James every time they face LeBron James, whether it was with the Heat or now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They just couldn't take it to that next level, and maybe they should start looking at a different coach. And I wish him the best. I think he's like the 4th winningest coach or something like that of all the current coaches. So he's a great coach, but there were some issues there that they just couldn't overcome.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times it has to do with the coach in the front office, whether they get along. You've seen that in the past. A coach will have a winning year. George Karl was coach of the year one year and then got fired in the offseason. And now I'm going to start the first rumor, Georgie, before the finals are over. How about this one? Cleveland's in the finals. We don't even know if they're going to win. How about Blatt gets fired from Cleveland because I don't think he gets along with LeBron.
Even if they win?
Even if they win.
Really?
I'm going to call another crazy shot here. And Tibbs goes to Cleveland.
Oh, my goodness.
He's got some background with coaching Kyrie Irving, and he's got some ties with LeBron as well.
Whoa.
So let's stir the pot a little bit.
Wow.
Let's say that Blatt gets the boot and Tibbs goes to Cleveland. This is before Cleveland's even in the finals.
Wow. Well, you're certainly stirring the pot there, but I mean, Blatt, he's the coach, but really LeBron's the coach.
True.
I think. I mean,
Right, right.
so maybe LeBron likes that situation. Maybe he doesn't want a coach that he actually would have to delegate the coaching to him. I think LeBron likes the fact that even though Blatt's there, he's really the coach, and he might enjoy that. So maybe
you're right.
he might stick around just because of that. You know?
Because I think you're right about one thing about Tibbs. He's a strong-willed person.
He's strong-willed. He's not going to succumb to and acquiesce to LeBron James.
Right,
he's not.
Right. So maybe they need somebody like they had in Miami that comes in and he's more of a figurehead, and Coach LeBron puts his coaching hat out and calls the plays during the, with 8 seconds to go. Who's calling those plays? LeBron James is.
Right. Of course, it's LeBron. You guys can write to us if you have any comments at bettersportsnews@gmail.com. And we got somebody that commented on one of our guests last week on Crystal Brook saying that, and we welcome your comments, good or bad. But he says, Crystal Brook, that person you had on the show last week, Crystal Brook, she's not really a horse person. She's actually a stripper. Can you believe that, Chappie?
I have no comment, George. I don't know anything about this. I did read it right before I went on air. But, without me doing my background, I can't comment any further on this. But we do welcome the emails. It makes for good fodder, and obviously George wants to bring these up. So next week we'll have another segment.
We'll have another segment just about this. But it was funny. She was like, she's not a horse lover. She's a stripper. Okay, well, you could be more than one thing, and then she's obviously trying to promote herself. And she was on Playboy, so it's not like she's adverse to any thing of that nature, whatever. But
nor are we.
But she's a horse lover as well. Obviously, if you're looking at the show, you can't tell me she's not a horse lover as well. I mean, she absolutely. She was here all day. It was fun to have her on the show, and hopefully nobody. You haven't vetted me, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay, that would be terrible.
I have a question for you, George. Are we going to talk FIFA in the segment here?
I really don't care about FIFA.
Me neither.
Okay, that sounds good.
On.
You know what I care about, though? And I want to make this announcement right here, that I was offered a job, a very exciting job for me, and I can't believe my lucky stars, but I'm going to be the track announcer at Stockton this summer. Is that cool or what?
That's awesome. George called me, gave me the news on that. George is going to call Stockton. And who knows what this leads to, George. This is a big news here on Better Sports News for our man George O here.
Now, I have called in the fairs in Spanish. I've called the races in Spanish. So this would be my first job ever in English. And so very excited about the opportunity, and hopefully you guys will be hearing me on TVG, and I won't mess up too badly.
And I did look up your calls in Spanish and watched a couple of them, and I thought it was great. Now, you got to understand, I don't understand a word of Spanish. I have no idea what you're saying, but it sounded really good to me, too.
What sounds good to me is that the playoffs in the NBA are now set, and it is the two teams that everybody wanted to see without question. It's the Golden State Warriors, the MVP, Stephen Curry, who's really played like an MVP, against really the MVP, who could be the MVP every year of the league, LeBron James, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And what a story that would be, him returning to Cleveland, his first year back, making this kind of a move to get to the finals. If they win it, tremendous story. If the Splash Brothers win it, tremendous story. It's just a good feeling all around. How do you see this incredible championship game?
I've gone back and forth on this one because I've always said in the past, you kind of got to earn your stripes. Teams take a little while to get there. And, the Golden State Warriors got a bunch of newbies, but I'm rooting for them, and I'm going to pick Golden State. LeBron James, it wouldn't surprise me if he does anything. I mean, think about it. They got to the finals. Kevin Love's been hurt. Kyrie Irving has been in and out and hurt. LeBron's playing with a bunch of nobodies, really. Yeah. And he's just completely carried them. The only thing I don't like is all the comparisons to Michael Jordan now with LeBron James. Granted, let's wait a little bit. He might get there, but my boy Jordan, he's my favorite athlete of all time. So, that's a little thorn in my side when they start comparing him to Michael. No MJ here yet, folks. But I am going to pick Golden State in 7. I think it's going to be a great series because LeBron's going to carry them on his shoulders. But I love Curry, love that team. They're fun to watch. This should be a great finals.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. It just LeBron's been there before, and he's a go-to guy that's been there time and time again, and he delivers. He can go 0 for 10, and then when they need him at the end, he always delivers. And I would like to see Golden State win, but I think it'd be a great story if LeBron wins, and I think it's going to be tough for them to beat LeBron at clutch time. We'll see what happens there.
Agreed.
Now, basketball. Speaking of basketball, Phoenix has a fun fact about basketball. So let's kick it over to Fenix right now and see what Fenix is going to bring to us. Fun facts with Fenix, talking basketball.
Thanks, boys. Welcome back to another week of Fun Facts with Fenix. Now, since I know all of your TVs have been tuned to basketball these days, that's what we're going to focus on this week. I'm going to give you a little fun fact with basketball. Now, basketball is a dear sport in my heart. I used to play it with my dad every single weekend, and I was pretty good. I played it in summer camp, and I was good. But I just realized that my father let me win, I think. We have to have a discussion about that. But anyways, my fun fact is about the history of basketball. It was originated in 1891 by a minister who was assigned to give a PE class at none other than the one and only YMCA. Now, this was in Springfield, Massachusetts, and since it was super cold outside, he had to invent a game where he could play indoors and outdoors. So here came basketball. In 1898, the first professional basketball game rose to fame. Now, back then, players for home games made $2.50. And for on the road games, they made $1.25. I really want to know what that translates to today, because I think we all know they make a little more than $2. Anyway, that was my fun fact for today. I'm going to kick it back to my boys, Chappie and Giorgio, and we'll see you next week. Ciao!
Thank you, Fenix. And well, he came up with a great game, and now it's just at the pinnacle. Athletes have really become so incredible that basketball is a perfect for athletes.
And they make a little bit more dough.
A little bit more dough nowadays. She was right. All right. Well, we've got an exciting week here. The week prior to the great Belmont Stakes, you definitely want to come to Santa Anita and spend the day here on June 6th. It's going to be exciting. American Pharoah, who Chappie, back when American Pharoah was like a foal, said American Pharoah is going to win the Triple Crown.
I think we had that on one of our segments,
I think
George.
so.
If we could find that. I called the shot early.
He really called the shot early, and very exciting.
Next week will be a good one, won't it? Our little Belmont segment.
Yeah. Next week, you definitely, next week is going to be exciting. All right, but we've got a Pick 5 to talk about right now. Saturday's Pick 5 at Santa Anita. It starts with a $20,000 claimer, and I'm using 3 horses in this race to start it off. Believe 2, who I guess was a little bit over his head last time, going for 40,000. Now they come back more realistically to 20,000, where Believe It 2 won easily, a length and a half over Top Drawer. But I'm also using Top Drawer because Top Drawer had some issues in that start. He stumbled a little bit. He was 3 wide. He had a good thoroughgraph number. And so Top Drawer I'm using as well. And I'm using Rainsford, number 6, who's dropping way down. If he's ever going to run, he's going to run today. So it's going to be 156 for me in the first leg. How about you, Chappie?
We're pretty similar here, George. I'm actually 4 deep. I'm 1, 2, 5, 6.
Okay.
And my top 3 choices would be the same 3 you used. I'm using the 2 as well. Espinosa jumps on. In these cheap claimers, sometimes speed is king, and that horse has a lot of speed, a little early lick, so that's why I use the 1, 2, 5, 6. So I'm 4 deep, you're 3 here. We're about the same here in the first leg.
And he was coming off a layoff that race, so he might have needed it. And maybe, those horses that take the lead, sometimes they just forget to stop. So it's good to throw him in. All right, I am going to use the Chappie button in race 2 because I have had no luck with 2-year-olds since the meet began running 2-year-olds. Every time we get a tip on a horse, the other horse wins, or this horse wins, or that horse. I have no clue at this point. I'm just luckily I can afford in my ticket to use the all button because I'm singling later. So I'm using all 8 of them. I have no clue in race 2.
I should probably go your route, but I'm going to go a little bit different here. I'm actually 3 deep. I'm going to use the 3. Robertino Diodoro is so good with first-time starters. I got to go there. Jeff Bondi on the 4. Bondi's been on fire. He's won with a couple babies here lately. And I'm actually going with the 7. I've heard that Edward Freeman might have a few babies coming up that have some talent. So I'm kind of taking a shot here, but a little hunch play there. So 3, 4, 7 for me. in the second leg.
Yeah, he had a big a 2-year-old winner earlier, right? And it was Redham as well. I think
That's
it was
correct.
also Paul
That's
Redham.
right.
But I mean, you got the 2 is Mike Harrington. He's good with 2-year-olds. I'm using them all and I'm making sure I get by this leg.
Smart man, George.
All right, race number 3 is a single for me. I love the way this horse ran last time. I think 2 short sprints and now stretching out to a distance is going to be perfect for this horse. I like number 8, Artistic Charm. Artistic Charm ran a really bang-up thoroughgraph number going to 6.5. Showed good speed, but it doesn't have to be on the lead. Just got caught late by a horse. Chatty's on top, who's really a good horse. Ran a good number. I think he's going to like the 2 turns. Bejarano has just been winning left and right. He's just on a tear. So I like Artistic Charm is going to be a single for me in race number 3.
Okay, this is scary because we're so far we're pretty close, and I was this close to singling the 8 as well.
Oh,
I end
wow.
up throwing in the 7, Warren's Gen Fizz. Good record on the turf, 2 for 2 at the distance. I am going to go too deep, but I do like your Artistic Charm. The only reason I didn't is because the horse is stretching out, trying something 2 turns a little bit different, and the horse has never gone 2 turns before. I'm very close to a single, but I am going to go too deep, 7, 8 here.
All right. I'm going too deep in race 4. In race 4, I'm going too deep. I like Go Jeremiah. Obviously, looks like the horse to beat. Gave it some chances early on and made a special weight. Didn't really deliver. For 50,000, didn't deliver. Then dropped him to 20 and just woke up and ran a great second. After that, came back with another great race. Had a 14 on the thoroughgraph sheets, the lowest number of any of the horses that have run here. I'm also going to use a horse that already was beaten by Go Jeremiah, but was recently claimed by a guy named Ricky Aguirre, who is on a tear as well. I mean, this guy, he's got limited stock. He just basically started training recently. I know him personally because he was like an outrider. Now he's doing some claiming some horses and training some horses. He claimed this horse for Kenji, who we know, KM Racing, and has already had a winner or 2 with him. Showed some speed first time out, can certainly improve off of that effort. Ricky claimed him. He's hot. I don't want to leave him out, so I'm using the 4 and the 5 in race 4.
I like your angle there, George, on both of them. I'm actually hitting the all button. By the way, it is Kenji's 48th birthday this weekend.
Oh, no kidding.
So, yeah,
That's great. Happy birthday, Kenji.
So maybe this is a little get lucky hunch play on Kenji's. But I'm going to hit the Chappie button here. I'm going all here. I've got the bullets to fire. Hopefully I can get a price. If I'm this deep, I'm going the all button here because I love somebody in the last leg, and I believe you do too.
Right. Spanish Queen ran a thoroughgraph number that just would destroy this field. Just ran a great race. Brice Blanc knows Spanish Queen really well. This is the American Oaks. That was just a wonderful race for horses on the grass. Richard Baltas, you got to respect him. He's just doing so fantastic. What a great trainer. What a great filly. This filly has just the potential to be outstanding, is already an outstanding 3-year-old filly, and I think Spanish Queen, for me and for a lot of people, is going to be a single. I know Chad Brown's bringing a couple in that certainly are going to run well. I think Consumer Credit's going to run really well, but I don't think anybody's got a chance to beat Spanish Queen in this spot. It's a 1.25 miles. She's got just everything going for her, including Brice Blanc. I love Spanish Queen. It's a single. That's why I'm singling in my pick 5.
How would you like to have Spanish Queen, a Calbred?
Ooh.
She's only raced 3 times, lightly raced. We've known about her since the start. Super talented. In her second start, she loses a grade 3 by a nose, and I know they were shocked that she didn't win. And they loved her the last time. She's already stepping up into grade 1 company. I think she's going to dominate here. I think she's a rapidly improving filly that could be any kind. Love Spanish Queen here. We're both singling. Let's hit this bad boy
Let's
this
hit it
week.
again. All right. Last week, we gave you a pick 5 that won. Actually bet it as well and split it with our makeup artist. We split it, the ticket, me and Denise. That was a good winner, and paid like $246. Pick 5, Chappie said it many times. It's just our favorite bet. I mean, it's great low takeout. If you hit it, it's going to pay well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's between the low takeout and it being a 50-cent bet, you can get a lot of combinations, a lot of bang for your buck, and it always pays more than you think, doesn't it, George?
Always
it's
pays
amazing.
much more.
Absolutely the best bet in racing. So we're going to hit this week. That can be our seed money for next week when we do our Belmont special preview show for the Triple Crown.
You don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much. On behalf of John Mann, Fenix, my man Champy, keep writing us there at bettersportsnews@gmail.com. We'll see you next week. You don't want to miss it. It's the Belmont edition. See you next week.
See ya.